Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Today we are talking about COVID and kids. Who is panicked? Because I know I started getting panicked when all the stuff started going around, and then we got Omicron, and then we've heard the media tell us about that the numbers are going up and more children being hospitalized. What is going on? Fear not, everyone. I'm Dr. Anna Maria Templa. I am your holistic pediatrician on call. My mission is to help inspire, empower, and educate families to raise healthy kids in this COVID-y world. Many of you guys know by now that my family and I had COVID at Christmas, and it was really annoying, but we're totally doing fine. But what I started doing is talking about it on Instagram, and then a lot of people send me questions, and here we are today, started a COVID podcast, and so many people ask me questions, and so I thought today we're going to talk specifically about kids. We're going to talk about the rising numbers, hospitalization, death rates, multi-system inflammatory condition of childhood, and most importantly, what you can do to protect your kids. So let's go. Today on episode 7 of the COVID podcast, we are talking about kids and COVID. One of the big headlines that we're seeing everywhere is that the rate of hospitalization in children is going up, and numbers are expected to rise, which of course is freaking everybody out. And we need to discuss. All right, so what's happening? To begin with, this time of the year is when we see number of hospitalized children go up for cold and flu and RSV and other respiratory illnesses. And this has been going on way before COVID, but never seemed to be in the media. And I know this because I was a hospitalist, which is a doctor who specializes in hospitalized children. And this time of the year, the hospital was full. We would be on divert, which means there were just no more kids that we could accommodate in the hospital because respiratory season was in full swing. So the fact that hospitalizations for COVID, which is a respiratory illness, is going up right now is also not surprising, and it should not be alarming. I'd also like to add that in the month of June, July, August, and September, when the hospitals were full with RSV, which is respiratory syncytial virus, which is an upper respiratory virus that causes a lot of problem in children, a lot of respiratory stuff, kids need oxygen, children die, premature babies are especially at risk, and the hospitals were full. I think I read one article about it. Nobody seemed to be panicked. There were no CNN headlines. No one seemed to sound the alarm bell, and all the kids, so many kids suffered with RSV and were hospitalized, but we're like, it's RSV, not as fun on social media, so let's not talk about it. Generally, this time of the year, after families have seen each other for the holidays, usually flu is spread like wildfire, and the hospitals become overly taxed by influenza season, and again, other respiratory viruses like RSV that cause a lot of problems. So the numbers this time of the year go up. My point is that the rate of hospitalization in children going up this time of the year should not panic anyone. This is an expected thing that happens this time of the year. Okay. On numerous news reports, it looks like the number of hospitalization for children with COVID has gone up significantly in the past week compared to previous couple weeks, but it is not as high as we were seeing them in September. The concern is that the holidays just ended and we also have New Year's, and the numbers are going to continue going up. So we are seeing a lot more kids coming into the hospital testing positive for COVID. However, based on reports coming out of Washington, D.C. and Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, it doesn't look like the children are more adversely affected than they were with Delta. Is Omicron less than Delta? Hard to say so far, but it's definitely not worse, again, according to two major hospital systems that have put reports out so far. Interestingly, several news reports, at the bottom of the various reports, it states that even though they're seeing higher numbers of children hospitalized with COVID, a lot of them are actually asymptomatic from COVID, but they are testing positive, therefore they get the COVID diagnosis, but their hospitalization is unrelated to any respiratory issues, just to confuse the picture even more. Because if you get hospitalized, they're gonna do a swab, and then, all these kids are positive, they get the diagnosis, but it doesn't mean that that's what they're hospitalized for. But what the numbers show is different than the actual clinical picture that panics parents. The one thing that gets, there's many things, but one thing that gets parents bent out of shape, justifiably so, is multi-system inflammatory condition from the syndrome, and it's MIC-S. And what we have noticed that there have been about 5,973 cases of this happening in children from 0 to 20 years old since the beginning of COVID in March of 2020. What we are not noticing is an increase in this syndrome since Omicron came to town. However, it's a little early because MIC-S manifests about 2 to 8 weeks after the child was infected. Often the child is asymptomatic or has barely any symptoms, and then 2 to 8 weeks later, they can become critically ill. At this point in time, we're not seeing more cases of this because Omicron is here. Now, I would also like to point out that in 2016, the CDC reported 5,692 cases of Kawasaki's disease, which is a similar thing, that multi-system inflammatory condition syndrome associated with COVID. Kawasaki's is in younger kids, but it has pretty much the same profile. Starts with a viral infection, oftentimes rhinovirus, which is the common cold, and the children suddenly develop fevers that are 105, last for many days. They become critically ill suddenly. We have to do IVIG. They're hospitalized. I've treated so many kids with Kawasaki's disease in my career, and we have never talked about it ever. And in 2016, there were as many cases of Kawasaki's from the common cold and other respiratory viruses as COVID, and we never talked about it. Most people have never even heard of this. But now, because COVID's hot, COVID's sexy, social media loves it, we are now talking about it like we've never seen this before, which of course that's going to panic me to no end. Like, oh my gosh, what is this new syndrome? What's going to happen? Not that this is a pleasant experience, even if you know what it is. What I'm saying is this kind of syndrome, this kind of an effect from a viral illness has been around for a long time. It has its own name, Kawasaki's, since 1970s. And we have not sent parents into panic. So I'm just saying, we're treating Omicron and his friends like royalty. Anyway, my point is, treat this like you would treat flu. So we're going to take a deep breath. In fact, for most people, the symptoms from COVID have been significantly less than the symptoms from flu, especially in my clinic. I speak for all the patients in my clinic. When flu is in town, people are significantly sicker than they've been since when COVID came to town. But that is in my own practice. Bottom line being, how do we protect our kids from this? We're going to use the same exact measures. I'm pro going into the world. I'm pro living our life. We cannot live in isolation. We cannot live in a quarantine because we've talked about the adverse mental side effects that is happening to our children. So we're going to go out into the world. We're going to wash our hands. We're going to cover our cough. If we have cough, we're not going to go hang out with our friends. We're going to watch our sugar intake. It's over. It's over. No more excuses. Halloween is done. Thanksgiving is done. Christmas is done. Okay, it's time to put the cookies away. I know, I'm a meanie, but sugar depresses our immune system for up to 5 hours and exposes us to the garbage that is out there. So no more. It's done. Hey, January 1st is about to be around the corner, and we're about to do a plant point challenge. So eating tons of plant points, getting a good night's sleep, going outside in the sunshine. Just remember, there's no such thing as bad weather. There's just bad clothing. So we're going to go outside and play outside and do all the things that we know support our immune system. And we will expect that we're going to get sick, and we are going to be okay. I will tell you, one of the things that I need to be talking more about is mindset. If we're walking around, no judgment, it's a real thing, but if we're walking around, I'm going to get COVID. Is it COVID? I have a sore throat. I think it's going to get COVID. We're all going to go down. My kids are going to end up in the hospital. I'm going to be tired forever. I'm going to have long haul syndrome. If your mindset is such, it increases your risk of having more adverse effect from COVID or any other viral illness. If you walk into the world, you know how we tell our kids, if somebody's bullying them or if somebody is mistreating them, walk around with confidence because then they're not going to touch you. Act like you're bigger than them. Think bigger, talk bigger, right? Same thing with COVID. COVID's a bully. It is a bully virus, and he has a big entourage who's bullying us too, and we need to change our mindset. So I hope that this brings you a little bit of peace of mind so you can breathe a little easier and you can enjoy your children a little bit more. It is a virus. We know what to do. You have this amazing book, right? The Rule of Five. Just putting a link here just in case you don't have it. But we know what to do. We know how to support our immune system. Knowing and doing are two different things. That's why I'm here to support you guys and to help you step by step so we can turn this runaway train around. We are always going to have viral illnesses. They're going to mutate. They're all coming around. The whole point is let's build our system strong and tough so they could stop bullying us and we can stop living in fear. I hope this episode helped bring you some peace, reduce your anxiety, and made wellness a little easier. My name is Dr. Anna Maria Temple. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I will see you on the next episode of the COVID podcast. Oh, don't forget to check out my other episodes regarding adults, regarding supplements, lots more info coming to you. See you guys next time.